Nigeria, there are still many there. There are many. I believe that those people, they said that they are deep.
When you begin to hide yourself
of the business I'm doing, how to keep business, like customer business, receipts.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Talking Migration on TV 360. I am Oyi Adekunle. The International Organization for Migration (IOM) has held an event to mark the 2018 International Migrants Day themed Migration with Dignity. At the special event, which took place in Lagos, IOM, in partnership with the European Union and the federal government, has launched some information, education and communication (IEC) materials to further enhance the campaign against irregular migration. This next report has the details. The irregular migration crisis is undoubtedly one of the major challenges confronting the world currently, with many mostly sub-Saharan African migrants desperately seeking to reach European shores by road through the Mediterranean Sea and Sahara Desert. Libya is a notorious route for many of these migrants, with over 11,500 stranded Nigerians returning to the country since 2017, and nearly 4,000 in 2018 alone. Most of the returns have been facilitated by the International Organization for Migration, while the Nigerian government is also organizing its own repatriation efforts. Yearly, December 18 is set aside to celebrate migrants and their contributions to different societies across the world. In this hall, an official of Nigeria's anti-trafficking agency expresses appreciation to the IOM for facilitating the return of stranded Nigerians home.
NAPTIP, we are against irregular migration because we know with irregular migration comes all issues of human trafficking. At NAPTIP, we are grateful to IOM for the tremendous job you are doing.
The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons is also represented at the event. Alex Oturu notes that the focus should not always be on the negative impact of migration.
In 2000, United States President Bill Clinton, when he visited Nigeria, indicated that he said 1 in every 10 doctors in the United States is a Nigerian. In 2012, the House Committee on Diaspora also revealed that 77% of black doctors, registered doctors in the United States, are Nigerians. So that means that Nigerian migrants are actually doing positive things in the world. So we must not always look at it from the negative aspect.
The IOM has also chosen the occasion of this celebration, which also coincides with the second anniversary of a joint initiative with the European Union to officially launch the information, education and communication materials. The IEC materials consist of a series of posters bearing different inscriptions on seeking opportunities at home as well as on the dangers of irregular migration. After the unveil, they are then presented to stakeholders and partners. Other side attraction at the ceremony features exhibition by migrants who have undergone the IOM reintegration program. The program manager of IOM Nigeria further reiterates the commitment of the agency to creating awareness for better migration management.
These IEC materials, they followed a specific approach in their development, meaning stakeholders from various parts of the country gathered together, sat down and designed these messages to particularly fit the community and the local context. The fact that stakeholders, including returnees, are gathered here today is a good example of how we all should work together. And this was highlighted with the Global Compact, adoption of the Global Compact in Marrakesh, in Morocco, a week ago, which stresses on the importance of collaboration to actually better manage migration in every country.
On his part, the Public Information Officer of NEMA speaks on the relationship between the agency and IOM.
We were there when the materials were presented for review. I was there, other stakeholders were there, and we made it to be an in-thing in Nigerian products so that everybody will key into it and buy the idea of what we can easily communicate to people. So this one should be able to go in a long way to sensitize the parents, the traffickers, and the victims who have seen it all.
It is expected that the newly launched sensitization materials will further consolidate the advocacy for safe migration pathways in Nigeria. They will also arm people with adequate information, which will ultimately lead to preservation of lives and dignity of persons. The UN General Assembly has endorsed the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly and Regular Migration. The international document was approved at a conference in Marrakesh, Morocco, by a total of 152 countries. 12 countries abstained, while 5 countries, including the United States and Hungary, voted against it. Billed as the first on migration management, the pact lays out 23 objectives to open up legal migration and discourage illegal border crossings, as the number of people on the move globally has surged to more than almost 260 million, or 3.4% of the world population. Now, what seemed like bad news here, the charity-run migrant rescue ship AQUARIUS has ended missions in the Mediterranean, with humanitarian group MSF blaming Italy and other European states for smearing and obstructing its work. MSF in a statement said the development is as a result of a sustained campaign spearheaded by the Italian government and backed by other European states to delegitimize, slander and obstruct aid organizations providing assistance to vulnerable people. Recall that the vessel chartered by SOS Mediterranean and Doctors Without Borders had been stranded in Marseille in the south of France since October after Panama revoked the right to fly its flag following a request from Italy's government. Now, Libya's Coast Guard spokesperson Ayub Kassim says at least 15,000 migrants trying to reach Italy by sea has been intercepted in 2018 alone. But the UN Libya mission on its part has reported a higher estimate, claiming that the Coast Guard had intercepted or rescued 29,000 migrants in the first 9 months of the year. The Coast Guard have so far been able to step up patrols after receiving new boats from Italy as part of efforts by the right-wing government there to stop migrants reaching Italian shores from Africa. Now to a sum total or recap of statistics on a global scale. Reports have shown that the total number of migrant deaths on the Mediterranean was 2,242 in 2018 alone, with sub-Saharan Africans accounting for 275 of the deaths, while majority was either mixed or unknown travelers. On arrival to Europe, it was a total of 138,810. Now, with 113,114 arriving by sea and 25,665 arrivals by land. Back home in Nigeria, a total of 4,123 people have been received by the National Emergency Management Agency, that's NEMA, mostly from Libya, Mali, and the Niger Republic. This adds to the total number of 11,783 people that have been brought back since 2017. Now, the IOM continues to carry out reintegration programs, economic, social, and psychosocial programs for returnees once they get back to Nigeria. As a result of this, many of them have good success stories to tell. After this break, I will be talking to one of such persons, a returnee migrant, who has set a business on course and is in the early stage of development. Please stay with me. You're welcome back. I'm now being joined on the program by Ekemena. Ekemena has been a guest on the program before, and she's back here to talk because her business is in course now. You've started your business, and she was repatriated from Zambia, yes, after a friend told her to come over and promised to get her a teaching job. And now she's back to Nigeria, and from all indications, the Kemena is doing fine now. Kemena, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Of course you are fine. Now let's take it back a little bit to your experience in Zambia. Please bring us up to speed. Just give us briefly, just tell us how you crossed paths, your paths crossed IOM, if I can put it that way.
Okay, after the invitation to Zambia, and then I discovered I was trafficked by the Deputy Commissioner of Lusaka Police Station, Lusaka Division. So that was where I came in contact with IOM. They interviewed me. I was interviewed there, and then I was moved to a confined place for my security and for my safety, you know, while they processed my repatriation, my documents to return back to Nigeria. So I think on the 11th of October, on the 9th of October, IOM called me through the place where I was kept. It's a shelter which belongs to the Young Christian Women Association. You know, so they called and they were like, your documents are ready, you're good to fly on the 11th. And I was happy, and I came home. And though they promised me over there that when I get to Nigeria, they are going to establish me with something, you know, but, you know, when I came to Nigeria, though I was skeptical about it, so I didn't really put my whole mind in it. So I had to get myself involved with something while I pursue what IOM had for me. So finally, I was told they gave me the procedures on what to do to get the fund. And I was told that the fund won't be given to me cash, you know. I have to think of what to do. I told them I wanted to go into business of clothes, females, that's adults and children. You know, so I was asked to get an invoice from anybody who sells in wholesale, bring it to their office at Ikeja here.
I know you're quite eager to talk about how you're faring now, but before we get there, let's talk about IOM Zambia.
Okay.
What was their response like to?
Their response was positive, and it was encouraging. You know, my medicals were being taken care by them. You know, I felt ill. I developed hypertension, so I was placed on serious medical checkup. You know, I was always going to the hospital 3 times in a week, which was sponsored by this same IOM, you know. And then the feeding aspect was good. They had to provide for my feeding, shelter, and all that. So IOM Zambia, they really, really did their best.
So coming back home, let's talk about your experience coming back. What has changed from when you got back and now?
A lot has changed. Number 1, I've added weight. Number 2, the BP has really gone down. Let me say I'm okay now. You know, I've never had any occurrence of high blood pressure again. You know, then I'm doing good.
Just take us through your journey when you got back, when you returned. What was it? Did you go home? Did IOM keep you in a place, or what was the process like?
No, I went home because when I spoke with IOM Nigeria in Zambia, they asked me if I had a house where I could stay. I said yes, you know, because I had my cousins. They live at Idimo. So I told them I was going to my cousin's place. So they asked me if I knew my way around in Lagos. I said yes, because I've been staying in Lagos before. So I just told them they shouldn't bother about my going home. I'll be safe. But the important thing is that I must report to their office immediately I come, which I did.
But what were some of the psychological damages that you experienced? What were some of those damages that it did to you? Because I understand that there's the economic side of the training, and then there's also the psychosocial, which is supposed to be a proper reintegration of people back into society.
My own case wasn't. I didn't go for any training, you know. I think IOM Zambia fixed everything before I came, so they didn't want me to go through that stress of go for this. They just wanted to establish me fully, you know, with the little they could do to start up my business, so I don't start thinking or having psychological disturbance over the fact that I really spent a lot before leaving Nigeria.
All right, so now let's talk about your business, the one that you are about to start.
I've started.
The one that you have started, I'm sorry. So now, how was it? How was the experience like? Take us gradually from when you were called and then what the process that you went through.
Okay, when I arrived in Nigeria, like I said, I came on the 11th of October. So on the 12th, I reported at their office. You know, I met the person in charge of my case. You know, then I had to go back. Then I returned on Monday. So she told me I should get some documents which it took me a while because of financial constraints, but I was able to get them, you know. And then I submitted, and then she told me, I will call you. You know, when they say I will call you, there was no specific date. And then I was like, okay, ma. You know, so I didn't call. I was just trying to keep myself busy with other things. You know, I'm also into fumigation. So I was using that one to manage myself. So one morning, I just woke up, and then she called. Ekemina, your money has been paid. And I was like, wow, just like that, you know. So it meant IOM, they really keep to their promises. You know, so I was asked to get the invoice from the person they paid the money to state that those.
So they don't give you the money?
No, they don't give you. Because if I'm giving the money, don't you think I will go back? You know, that thought of, okay, now go back and try to see if you can leave Nigeria again, you know. So the thought of ever settling down to do the business won't have come to my mind. Yes, because initially I already had the thought of, look for another country to go to now. What are you still doing in Nigeria? You know, that kind of thing. But when the business came, when I went there, I picked the goods. And then my sister just called me. Those things you said you want to sell, I have a friend who wants supply worth of 400,000 naira. And that was it. I traveled back. I had to take the things to Asaba. And then I sold it well. And ever since then, I've been doing huge supply.
All right. So before you left, you didn't think of this line of business at all, or what was it?
I was actually into the business, but it was a very small scale business. But with the funds IOM were able to raise for me, I think let me say it's large.
So the point is they allow you choose what you want.
Yes.
So why clothing business for you? Because
that is what I think I can do. That is what I know I know that the profits for a jean, if I buy a jean, the profit I know. Then talk of when I buy in bulk, you know, and with that huge amount, the gain is reasonable.
You said something about thinking of leaving for another country. Now, why did that thought cross your mind? Was it because you were being stigmatized?
Yes.
Please tell me about that.
You know, when I came and then, when are you going back? What did you come to do? You just left Nigeria barely how many months, and then you're back and all that. So I couldn't really tell them this was what happened, you know. So I was like, don't worry, I will go back. Don't worry, I came to visit. Don't worry. You know, I had to tell a little lies, you know, to cover up that story. But, you know, at the end of the day, I later came out to say the truth that this is what happened. And of course, it's my money and it's my rights. Nobody will kill me if I was repatriated or not. So that was it. And then they were like, so that was what happened. I said yes, and we give God the glory.
It's just like we read in the news very recently about the information, education, and communication materials that have been launched by the IOM to support and to also launch sensitization campaigns for people. How far do you think that these materials can go?
Well, to my own thinking, I believe, because even many of these people who were being repatriated, I know many of them are still, some have gone back to another country, you know, but I believe that these materials will go far, you know, with what they are doing, because I also look at what IOM is doing on the internet, you know, and I see that it's spreading far. The sensitization is going real far, especially to the south region. So a lot of people have gotten the idea. They're already aware of this human trafficking thing, and everybody are trying to be careful now.
All right. So have you in any way on your own path tried to reach out to people to discourage them from
like when I went home after the funeral, my father's funeral, you know, I had some friends, I want to travel out, and then I told them there's nothing there. It's here in your country. Whatever you want to be, you can be in your country. You mustn't go out to get what you want, because when you go out, you don't know who you're going there to meet. The person might tell you, don't worry, come. And then when you get there, it's a different story. Even your brothers there can betray you. Your sisters, they can betray you. They can traffic you over there. So just relax and keep yourself busy with what you're doing, and the sky will be your starting point.
Right. On the issue of human trafficking generally in Nigeria, people, IOM, the federal government, people are going out to say, look, this is not the way to travel if you want to go. Be wary of these people who come to tell you enticing stories. There are jobs over there. But people keep going.
Yeah.
What would you think is responsible for this? Why is it that people just want to just defer every means and they just want to go?
You know, they believe the economy in Nigeria is very low. You know, well, like, okay, like when you check out Zambia, their currency is 36 to a naira here, you know. So when you look at it, staying in Nigeria, if I buy this thing and I sell at this amount, the gain is not much. At the end of the month, I have to pay rent, I have to pay bills and all that. But they believe when they travel out, I send money home to get something, you know, it will be huge. So I think that's the mentality. Even me, I had that mentality too, until I had to recuperate myself and tell myself, no. You see, that money they have there, if you work hard here in Nigeria, you can make it. It all depends on your determination and what you have upstairs and the orientation you're being given to.
All right, so I'll let you hold your thoughts there. I'll go on a short break. We'll go on a short break now, and when we return, we'll continue with the rest of the program. Please stay tuned.
Corruption not in my country. Dalali, my business has been going down. I need your help.
Bawahala. I will show you the formula. I use some bad chemical which I mix, so produce the drugs which gives me up to 4 times profit. Imagine, pa.
So you are one of the people that is killing millions and millions of Nigerians in this country. Dalali, was it not you last 2 months that was complaining about the fuel scarcity in this country, that the government is corrupt?
Have I killed anybody in your family?
You don't have to kill any of my family members directly. Every Nigerian you kill is my family. Selling of fake drugs, expired drugs, putting drugs in wrong packets, all that are acts of corruption. This is corruption, not in my country. CIA.
Me? Fake drug? Now corruption? Allah kia.
Corruption not in my country. Stop corruption now.
You're welcome back. I still have Ekemena with me in the studio. Ekemena, so you said earlier that a lot has changed.
Yeah, a lot
now,
has changed.
what would you be saying to those who have helped you on this mission, at least to get your life back on track again?
I'll say a very, very big thank you to IOM Zambia, to the Victim Support Unit Department of Lusaka Police Station, Lusaka Division precisely, and then IOM Nigeria. I'm saying a very big thank you to them. They have really done well in my life. You can see the way I'm just smiling. You know, I see that the Victim Support Unit, the IOM Zambia and IOM Nigeria, I believe they are still the reasons why I'm still alive, you know, because in a normal situation, you know, committing suicide would have been the thought of the day, you know, getting frustrated, you come back to Nigeria, you don't have anything to start up with, no clothes, nothing, no good food, even to transport would have been a problem. But here I am today. I'm looking good and I'm happy.
So what are you aiming to achieve with your business?
Exportation.
What do you mean by exportation?
Exportation of goods from Nigeria to the Western shores.
To the Western shores. So if you have opportunity to travel again, would you be exploring that means?
Yes.
You said you'll be exploring the means to travel. If you have opportunity, would you be willing to leave Nigeria?
I'll be willing to leave on a business note.
On a business note?
Yes.
Albeit any means, or do you have a specific means in mind to say?
The normal means of buying a ticket, purchasing a visa, boarding the plane, and coming back when I'm done with business.
I needed you to be very specific on that. Now, your last words for Nigerians or around the world, people who are watching and who want to embark on different kind of journeys outside of Nigeria, albeit the means. What would you be saying to those people?
They should be careful. They should be very vigilant. Wherever they are going to, they should be vigilant. Even, you know, trafficking, you can also be trafficked legally without you knowing, you know. Like my own case, I went through the normal process, but it was when I got there I discovered I was trafficked. So Nigerians, especially the females and the males, they should be contented with what they have. They should be careful and they should be vigilant.
All right. Yes, there you have it. Just as Ekemena said, be careful and vigilant. If you must travel, please seek the regular means and ensure you have adequate information about your country of destination before you even embark on the journey. That's the much we can take on the program today. Many thanks for watching. Until I see you again next time, I am Oyi Adekunle. Bye for now.